where we're going. We're going to go inside the Ritz. It's built in the 1920s. And here we are at the Ritz, established in 1927. Has a cafe as well. Some pretty stained glass. Old tile. The marquee has been replaced by this new marquee. Welcome to the Ritz. Cool little box office, ticket booth. I'll show you guys this really neat floor. Let's take a look at that old style. I'm going to try to take you guys to 4 theaters, including here at the Ritz, the Alamo in Noonan, the President in Manchester, and the Royal in Hogansville, Georgia. First stop's the Ritz. We're going inside the Ritz. Wow. Look at this. Really takes you back, doesn't it? Really takes you back. And it even, if you could smell this, you guys, it still smells lingering popcorn smell. That's neat. How detailed and beautiful is this lobby? Concession area. You get all your standard treats here at the theater. I bet the popcorn is great. And look, the prices are good too. That's nice. And of course, this is just like an old-time cafe diner. Some neat stuff in here. Oh, there's Betty Boop. And you could sit in one of these really cool, what are these called? Why am I spacing out? What would this be called? A booth? No, the space here. And it's got, boy, I get you could get rocking in here, have some popcorn.
That Ritz Cafe used to be white. The 114 is our address.
Oh, I gotcha.
But it belonged to George McCarrow. At the time, it was all white. And he is the gentleman who first started the Longhorn restaurant.
Oh, that's cool. Got Sally Field, Adam Sandler, Olivia Newton-John, Jennifer Aniston. Maybe it's just pictures of stars that everyone recognizes. Another cool floor in here. Sylvester Stallone.
Lucille Ball.
We love him on that new show, Tulsa King. Lucille Ball. She was beautiful. And an old Coca-Cola sign. Very cool. And we haven't even made it into the theater part yet, and it's still impressive. Love these old-timey tables and chairs. Really, really well done.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Because of two visual phenomenon, persistence of vision and phi, humans can see pictures in motion. With persistence of vision, your eye retains an image for a split second. And with phi, pictures shown repetitively seem to be moving. So an early toy in France to take advantage of this visual phenomenon was called a phenakistoscope. Basically an image wheel, a picture wheel. You can make them. I made this one, not very fancy. But what the deal was you could look through these cracks, and if you looked into a mirror through the cracks, can't film it because it just doesn't work well, guys, but it would appear to the human eye to be pictures in motion. The origins of motion picture. And here we are at the Ritz. Thank you, too. That's the original marquee. Cool. Very cool. Can we go through the doors over here and check it out?
Yeah,
Let's go check it out.
this is cool too.
Oh my goodness.
Very old.
Ooh. Look at the sconces and stuff on the walls. How neat. Just the one. Just the one. Inside, you just don't get to see a movie in a theater like this anymore. And it has the stage. How amazing. the balcony. Look at these lights. How neat is this place? Ooh. Now, you were in television movie production for years, and your wife was a makeup artist as well. And see, this is in your blood. Theater is in your blood for sure.
Yeah, when I left, when I graduated from high school in England, I said to my mum and dad, I want to do something in film and television, and their response was, you need to get a regular job, a proper job.
A proper job.
That's not a proper job. That's just a hobby or something.
Yeah.
So they basically sent me for an electronic apprenticeship to learn the electronics, you know, and whatever. It was a 4-year apprenticeship. I knew when I finished that apprenticeship I was not interested in what I was learning at all. I happened to see an ad in a TV station, for a TV station for help about 2 or 3 weeks before my apprenticeship ended. Managed to get an interview, got the job. I left my apprenticeship on a Friday, started in TV production on the Monday.
On a Monday.
And this was in England. And I went to Canada for the CTV network for quite a while, then moved to Dallas and worked in the States and around the world on all sorts of TV productions and whatever.
Wow, awesome.
And you mentioned my wife. I met my wife because she was a makeup artist, and she was doing makeup for a show that I was directing in Dallas, and that's how we connected.
Wonderful. What a great story. You've been in production for a long time.
Before we got this place.
And now, but you did own a theater previously.
In New Mexico.
If we could talk about that for just a minute, because that one opened, it had opened in 1912, which means those movies would have been silent pictures.
So this theater was called the Kiva Theater. It was built, you mentioned, in 1912. Part of its original early history was the fact it was a studio used by Tom Mix
Oh, wow.
to make the silent westerns.
Oh.
But the theater in Las Vegas, New Mexico was about a third of the size of this place. The theater was in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Most people don't know there is a Las Vegas, New Mexico. It actually was there before the Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, really?
And it was at one point the capital of New Mexico.
Oh.
It's a very old town. It's 6,500 feet up in the mountains in northern New Mexico. And we were on vacation there and saw this theater closed, but with a for rent sign on it. And I said to my wife, I said, this is a beautiful part of the country. The scenery is absolutely spectacular. You know, it's very nice. Why don't we come here and renovate the theater and see if we can make a go of it as a new adventure, When we found it, it had been closed for 10 years. Nobody thought it would ever open again. The town council and people I talked to just were up in, armed with their joy that somebody might come to their town and reopen their Kiva Theater again. So that is what we did, and that's how we gained the experience actually to come and reopen this one, or renovate this one.
Right.
This place was a silent movie theater when it first opened.
Right.
The sound was maybe just about to emerge, and so underneath this stage there's an orchestra pit.
There's a pit still there.
Where I'm sure in a small town like this they didn't have an orchestra, but they probably had a piano and maybe drums or a guitar or something simple to accompany those movies in the early days. But in the projection room when we came here, on the wall was a large dimmer, big knob that controlled the ceiling lights. And during the renovation process, the electrician said, that dimmer's like, you know, 50 years old. It shouldn't work. It probably won't work. You know, just forget it. Well, actually, when they hooked it up, it did work.
Oh.
And because a dimmer dims the lights, in this case,
Right.
up and down, and you can go fast or you can go slow. So you can create a mood in here
Yes,
by how quickly
yes.
or slowly lights, not just house lights, but stage lights and everything
Yes.
else.
Wow.
So when digital came along and was possible to be remote controlled in a sense, or you certainly didn't need a projectionist like in the same manner you would need it with film projector, where you had to have a trained, fully professional projectionist, and the larger theatres would have 4 or 5 projectionists. You know. In the digital era, you don't need that same thing because you're basically dealing with a computer. But I wanted to create the atmosphere in here, so I wanted to use that old dimmer to dim the lights fast if it was a, you know, fast movie, or slow if it was a slow movie, or, you know, a romantic movie or whatever, something like that. So it was no point in automating the projector to start automatically, because somebody had got to be in the projection room to turn the lights down. So if you're going to be in the projection room to turn the lights down, you might as well push a button and start the projector.
Right.
So everything was still done manually during our time here,
Right.
but that was mainly so we could
To
control the
control the
presentation
atmosphere and
on the screen.
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So that bulb had probably been on for years.
Oh my goodness.
Years. There was a little crack in the wall
Oh, my
between the
goodness.
panels
Mystery
where this light
solved.
came through.
Oh.
And in that room were thousands and thousands and thousands of old tickets.
Oh really?
Unused tickets from 5 cents, 10 cents, 15
oh, my
cents.
goodness.
Printed in Atlanta
Ah.
with the name Ritz on them. And that was what was stored in that room.
Oh boy, well, that's a great story.
To get to that room,
What a great
it's
story.
a climb through air ducts and things, so it was never really accessible, and that was that.
Wow, that's a
And
great
one
story.
other story, which you may or may not find interesting, because we did until the end, in a sense. There's an old safe backstage.
Really?
A real, well, it's not really big, but it's really heavy, right? You certainly can't pick it up, and we often wondered, how on earth did it get there? I mean, how did you physically get there? Because
Right.
it's in a small room, and it must have been put there before they built the walls, because there's no way of getting. Anyway, the point was, when we came, the previous owner said, "Look at this safe. It's locked. Nobody knows what the combination is. It hasn't been opened for 20 years or more that we know of,
Right.
and nobody knows how to get into it or whatever else." So we decided to do an Al Capone thing, and we hired a safe cracker to come and drill the safe, lock up, whatever they do, and get the safe open. We also had the TV station from Atlanta, not Atlanta, Macon, sorry,
Macon, right.
here to record it.
Have a live.
We had cameras in the room where the safe
Oh,
was,
wow.
and we were able to project that onto this screen. So we invited members of the public to come in and sit here and
wow.
watch
To watch the
safe opening.
Ah.
And we all expected to be millionaires after that.
Yes.
But when they opened the door, it was empty.
Oh.
So exciting getting there, but a bit of a letdown.
That's funny. That's a great
my work.
story. So many
Well,
changes.
I've seen
I'm
quite
sure.
a few changes, and of course, being old and old-fashioned, this idea of no projectionist doesn't sit too well with
No,
me.
no, no.
And the reason why is because a movie theater, in my opinion, is not just to show a movie; it's to give an experience.
The air conditioning really lured people into the cinema, and of course, movies. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But movies started out as a nickel show, and that's where we get the term Nickelodeon. It's not just a kids' channel; it's an actual term for early theaters. And
People didn't have air conditioning at home,
no, no.
so to come
what a
out
treat.
and go into somewhere where it was cool on a sweltering hot day outside.
Imagine that.
It was a treat, and for 5 cents or 10 cents,
Right.
then it was a deal, right?
Right, and my mom said it was if her dad could get the dime together, it was worth it, because also you could stay for 2 or 3 hours and watch all of the different reels, and for 2 or 3 hours to get the kids out on a dime wasn't a bad deal. So, but she was always lucky to get the dime. She would have been 100 this year, and she was born in 23. And so, but one of her biggest memories of childhood was going to the movies because it was that big of a deal. my mom her family went to an opening of a theater, and there were little door prize numbers under all the seats, and they won a turkey, but it wasn't like a frozen turkey, it was a live turkey. And they took the turkey home because at that point, the butcher was closed. So the turkey lived in their little apartment in Queens overnight, and they kind of got friendly with the turkey. And the next day, her dad took it to the butcher shop. Nobody could eat the turkey because by that time, they looked him in the eye, you know.
It was a pet now.
It was a pet.
And part of that experience is the way the show is presented.
Correct, right.
You know, in the old days, you used to have curtains across the stage, and they would slowly open at the start of the movie, and all the dramatics and everything else.
Right.
Nowadays, and here, we used to use lighting effects and video pictures and things like that from local events that went on that we would show before the movie started.
Oh, thank you so much for your time,
I was just
sir.
getting comfortable.
You were just getting, we should put on a movie.
I'm waiting for the movie to start.
We're waiting for the movie to start.
Everybody needs to come out to the movies.
Oh, they do.
Not necessarily here.
They do.
Wherever.
Right.
It's not like watching TV at home. I don't care how big your screen is.
Come out to the movies.
See a movie in a movie theater.
We'll do it. And that's one of the reasons we were interested in highlighting these historic theaters, to help them revitalize themselves and to tell people, get out from the living room, go to a movie. Support your local theater.
Have some fun. I don't care whether it's raining or snowing. Make the effort. Come and see the movie in the movie theater.
In a theater.
You'll enjoy it 10 times better if you don't know who you might meet.
I think that ceiling is plaster, Mark. What do you think?
What?
Plaster, or do you think it might be tin?
It's metal.
That's metal?
Tin, yes. Acoustical ceiling.
You just don't get to see a movie in a theater like this anymore, guys.
Tin and stuff's out. That ain't plaster. Used to have 2 or 4 lights up there, and they put up, like, filled in and put little chandeliers in the floor.
So school groups get to come here on field trips and watch children's movies. Had over 200 people in the theater last night watching a movie. They're going to be showing some of your popular, like the new Guardians of the Galaxy. Little Mermaid's going to be here pretty soon. We'll post a link to their website and their Facebook page. So if you want to come out here to Thomaston, Georgia and experience theater like your grandparents did, really. I remember my mom used to talk about how it was a dime to go to the movies, and it was a big deal if you got that dime to go to the movies. This was during the Depression, and it was a big deal to go to the movies. Another big deal about going to the theaters in those days was they had air conditioning a lot of times. And you can imagine in Georgia in the summers, getting to spend a few hours in a movie theater with air conditioning was quite the treat. Here's a great shot. Oh, this is a good angle. Huh?
And it only costs you a dime.
And it only costs you a dime. Your parents could keep you busy all afternoon for a dime. This is a great view right here. The lights showing up the stage really well from here. And it's got all the neat ceilings. This is cool. This is the Ritz in Thomaston. We're going to sneak upstairs. So several folks, and what year was this, 2003? Contributed to fixing the balcony. are up here. How neat. I'm going to show you the old projection booth. Now, when the theater opened in 1927, in the first week it was open, the old celluloid films caught fire. Projectionists caught fire. But he didn't leave the building. He ran throughout the theater, warning people to get out, to get out, to get out. Well, he lingered too long, and he ended up passing away as a result of the injuries he sustained from being in that fire.
He didn't die immediately.
Right,
but he died
as a
from his
result of the injuries. Now, that fire happened in the very first week of the theater being opened, and that original owner, he closed the theater pretty quickly, stayed closed for a year, and then two gentlemen took ownership in 1928. And the theater has only had a short amount of time where it was not open. So it's nearly continuously operated theater. Old sign I just found underneath a curtain. Do not stand in the aisle. Yep, sounds like a great evening. Eating popcorn, watching movies in an old time. Your grandparents would be proud of you in an old theater like this.
The last theater I went in had recliners.
Yeah. Oh, got something here at the Ritz. Something in the theater. One anomaly. Look. There's a ghost in here.
Is there?
Yep. So we do know that a gentleman did pass away as a result of injuries here at the theater from a fire. Oh, and whoever's in here is walking right towards me. He didn't die in the fire in the building, but he died shortly after the fire. He was the projectionist. And the projection room, ooh, he's right on top of me. Oh, I just got goosebumps. The projection room caught on fire, and he ran to warn everybody. And then he passed away from his injuries.
He's gone now.
He's gone. If that's you, Mr. Projectionist, oh, now there's somebody behind us. That's pretty sneaky.
Where do you see it?
Right over this way. I'm just picking up ghosts.
Oh, okay.
No big deal.
Well, when you find the ghost, the leaf popcorn where I've already sweated up, let me know.
Ah.